Thank you very much, Louise, and welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to OTF Connect. Thank you so much for giving of your own time to join us tonight. I know it's really cold out there, so I hope you're all staying warm and safe at home. It's my pleasure to welcome Jaclyn Calder, who will be facilitating tonight's webinar on working the math processes through Bring Your Own Device. This is the second in a series of 3 webinars that Jaclyn is presenting for us to support teachers in the area of mathematics. So welcome, Jaclyn.
Thank you, Syria. Okay, so tonight we're looking at, absolutely, Lorraine, it will be recorded, and Luis always sends out a link to the resources that I've created online that I'm just about to share to you, and a recording from tonight the next day. So we're looking at communication and selecting tools. I'm just trying to type this in the chat as I talk, sorry. I can't chew gum and walk at the same time. Computational strategies. So because this is a series of 3, we look at a few of the different math processes as we work through each session. So today we're focusing on the problem-solving umbrella as always, and then looking at communication and selecting tools and computational strategies. So I've selected a few tools to go through tonight that look at supporting students in developing some communication and math skills, and then some math-specific tools that are accessible on a variety of devices that can help them when they are doing problem solving as a tool. So they might choose from a variety of tools to help them solve a problem. Very first off, what I'd like to do is share this link, and I'm going to try and do it in the web tour, Louise, here, if that's okay, so that it comes up on our screen. Let's see how this is working tonight. Can I get a green check mark over on the left if you see a screen that says working the math processes through BYOD? Well, this is a good sign. Awesome. So it looks like this working the math processes is showing up on the screen okay. Sometimes our web tour, especially my internet tonight, is a little bit wonky. We've got quite the storm up here. They're starting to close some of the roads up here. So, and the winds, there's just a howling, so the internet was a little iffy, but this is good. So this is a wiki, or a website, that we started creating this summer when we did a 3-day summer institute around the idea of working the math processes through BYOD. On the left-hand side, under Home, 00 Session Agendas and Resources, if you click the little arrow beside it, if it's not already open, you'll see Fall-Winter 2014 OTF Connect Session 2. That's where links to the resources that we're looking at tonight are going to be. So I'm going to try and see if I can get, if that screen comes up here. So I'm going to clear the space. Yep, thank you. Can I get a green check mark if you see the OTF Session 2 page come up? Oh, good. Wow. Okay. This is a good web tour night. So here I've listed the strategies that we're looking, or the math process we're looking at tonight, and then a list of some of the tools we're going to look at, and each one's hyperlinked to a page, its own page of resources. So how-tos, like a how-to video and whatnot about each tool. So that's kind of how I'm going to try and work through tonight. Basically, for each tool that we're going to look at, I've created an activity where you go and access the tool as a student and try a little activity, and then I've either got a short video that you can take a look at or a link to resources that you can access later with the how to set it up. Does that plan work for anyone, or is there anything specific if you can throw in the chat or grab a mic that anyone is looking for tonight? So a check mark if that plan sounds okay, or something in the chat, or your hand up if you want to grab the mic and request anything in particular. GeoGebra. Okay, I think I have a page on it here. I was going to look at Desmos tonight, which is similar but not quite exactly the same. So we'll have a discussion about that when we do the Desmos page for sure. I'm just going to wait a couple more seconds. I can see a couple other chatting. Okay, great. So Vera, make sure that you keep reminding me of that as we go through different tools. Ask a question, grab the mic, or ask for ideas about from the rest of the group too, and we'll kind of have some discussions around that. Got it. Okay. Sounds like a plan. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our, let's see, our PowerPoint. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, so this first tool that this first activity I'm going to try, I'm going to start right off with something crazy that we're going to see if it works or not. Basically, give me 2 seconds here. I am going to try a tool that pushes slides out to each device, each student device. It's called PearDeck. It's run through Google Drive and Google Apps. So last session, our session 1 for the math process is through BYOD. I tried a tool called ClassFlow. So if you weren't in session 1 or if that sounds intriguing to you, then go watch the recording for that sometime and we can make sure that you know how to access those recordings before we leave here today. I use a tool called ClassFlow, which does a similar job as this one, but with some substantial differences. And next session, session 3, I'm going to use a tool called NearPod, which does, again, a similar job, but with some substantial differences. PearDeck, I can import slides from Google Slides into PearDeck, and then I can also create questions that I'm going to let you try out in 2 seconds from your own computer, where I get the student results come back up to me. So I am going to try this here.
I think as soon as Jaclyn tried that, her internet said, no trying of that.
Actually, I didn't
All right, Jaclyn,
even
you're
try
back.
that.
Oh, okay. Well, would you like to try again?
Yeah, that was just, I think, like I said, that storm that's happening up here, I'm getting some flickering of power and everything that's kind of happening with the wind, so I think that's what happened there. But I will try this again. So what I'm going to ask everyone to do before I try sharing my screen, can you open a browser window with the link that Luis put into the chat? Yep, thank you. The peardeck.com join. When you get to that join page, so you're opening up another, like your web browser, so it could be Google Chrome, it could be that you just click on that link and it'll open it up in Internet Explorer or Firefox or Chrome, whatever you're using, and it will take you to that link. It's going to ask you for a code, and that is the code that I just put in the browser, NIQKD. Unfortunately, I couldn't put that code on the slide because it creates me a new code every time. And then you're going to join that classroom. So you just put in your name. I can see that 1 of you have joined already. 2 of you have joined. 3. Please ask questions if what I'm trying to do here isn't making much sense. It's a little bit confusing, but I can't think of a better way to let people see how it works than trying it. So we're going to try it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll laugh and move on. But 6 of you are, oh, this is great. How many of us are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're looking for about 10. Sorry about that, folks. I was kicked out of the room again. Okay, so Louise says that it's asking her to log into her Google account. It does do that for some folks. It did that for you too. Did it do it for everyone or just for people on mobile devices? Everybody, okay. Okay, so it's asking everyone to sign in with Google. There we go, sorry. There we go. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that it does ask all students to join in with their Google account. I was under the impression that was mostly just, oh, and there's 11 of us in here now. Perfect. So I'm going to push the first slide out to you. So what you should see, and so I have in a separate browser window open, I have the screen open in a separate browser that would be up on the projector. I am going to try doing it in Google in here to see if I can't share it. I'm a little hesitant, but if I get kicked out, I'll be right back. So here goes nothing. I'm going to try and share it in the Collaborate window Oh, Louise, could you make me a moderator again? Sorry. Thank you. Okay, so you should see now my screen on the board, which shows the slide that we're looking at. And you should have on your own screen, in a separate window, that screen being pushed out to you. I'm going to change the screen now. And there we go. So this screen that I've pushed out to you, what I'd like you to do is it should be like a poll or like a question that it's asking you. And you take your finger or your mouse and you move the dot to where you want to go. And what you can see, so I can see that 10 of you have already responded. That's great. 11, perfect. So now, if you can see my screen, I'm going to click on the Show Student Responses. And if you can see the screen within Blackboard Collaborate, so that's what I would have on the projector, you can see the red dots make a congregate where you all left them. So I can see that we have a few more elementary than we do secondary, and I can see people moving theirs, which is great. So I'm really glad that you guys did that. Keep moving them around for a couple of seconds, because what I can do is, if I bring my cursor over here, is I can lock you out. Ha ha. So now you're locked. So that I could actually stop you. We could have a discussion in class, and then I could unlock, see if anyone changes their mind, and then relock. This is a really neat tool for using for those kind of debatable discussions, a really good prompt for that communication in math and those discussions in math. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next slide. If there's things happening in the chat right now, Louise, can you just grab the mic, because I can't see the chat right now. But I'm just going to go through a couple questions, and then we'll have a discussion about how we could use this in class.
Not a problem. I will let you know.
Okay, so now, thank you. So now what I've done is I've asked you to plot the points 3, 4. Really, you can plot whatever you'd like. But this is what's kind of called a creative response, or a draw. What's it called on this tool? A drawing response. Okay, so now that I have 12 responses, I'm going to click on Show Student Responses. And as you can see, I can see where you've all put your blue dot. I can see you moving your blue dot. Oh wait, that person had it right, and now I locked you out. Ha ha. And then I can unlock it again. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. This is the drawing one, sorry. So this one's a draw a graph, any graph. So this is a drawing response. The other two were they're called draggable slides. That's it, sorry. I got my lingo, my PearDeck lingo wrong. We've got the draggable slides, and then we have the draw a graph. I was going to put some sort of fun, function on here for you to graph, but I figured that was not necessarily applicable to everybody's classroom, so I figured you could draw a graph that would be applicable to your classroom or whatever you felt like graphing.
Jaclyn, Lorraine has a question. She is wondering if the dots, and I assume the lines if someone's drawing a graph, if you're able to tell, and let me know if I'm right, Lorraine, if which students are responding with which response.
Great question. So the draggable one, no, I can't tell which ones are doing what. Although I think if I have the pro version of PearDeck and I have students log in, I may be able to go back and look what they chose. I'll have to check on that one for you, Lorraine. Sorry, with using ClassFlow this and NearPod, sometimes I get get them a little bit confused. The drawing a graph one, definitely. So I'm going to show you how I can see the responses differently for this one in about 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to show student responses here. So I can see the first, and you probably see yours scroll by as I go. And if I had chosen a different view, I could see which student is which. So I'm going to try showing you a different view right now at risk of my internet having a meltdown, but let me try this once here. Let's see. I am going to go to this session dashboard. And now you can see on the left-hand side, I can see your name and what you've chosen, what you've drawn. And then this is what is the projector view on the right-hand side. So in PearDeck, there's a couple different views for me as a teacher. So I'm going to go back now, switch views, go to projector view, and now I'm back to my poll. Okay, let me go to the next one. Oh, that was all, I think maybe all my PearDeck things. I'm going to end this session on PearDeck now, and then we can all reconvene back in the Blackboard session, and then have a quick discussion and ask some questions and talk about how we can use this to support the communication aspect in our class. Okay, I'm ending the PearDeck. Oops. Okay, so I'm back in the PearDeck. Is everyone else back? Sorry, not back in the PearDeck. I'm back in Blackboard Collaborate. Is everyone back here now? Green check mark if we're back and we see a sign up on the board that still says PearDeck. Okay, great. So does anyone want to grab the mic or suggestions in the chat, questions, comments about this tool, applications you can see to your classroom, or maybe technical problems that you had with it? Feel free to grab the mic. There's the talk button there. You can raise your hand if you would like, and I can make sure that the mic's free for you. Similar to clickers, yep, absolutely. To see the live results when they're moving their draggable dots about, absolutely. Yes, Louise, the speed. So I choose PearDeck sometimes over top of class. I do use ClassFlow in my classroom more often than not. But I'm going to answer that in 2 seconds, Lorraine. But I use PearDeck when I want that draggable feature. Yeah, Vera, it appears that the students have to have a Google account. I was under the impression that they didn't have to on a laptop, but clearly either that's changed recently or I was wrong. So only time we've had a problem on our school network with PearDeck is when cookies were disabled on the devices, and they were iPads. PearDeck is working on any devices, so even phones. It's been working on a few of the bigger phones. Yeah, it can be. It's within PearDeck. So, within the Google apps. So PearDeck has a freemium type structure, which is unfortunate, which means that it gives you so many draggable slides for free, and then it tries to get you to buy their more robust version. All of the polling slides are still there, so you get some of that kind of free aspect to it, but you couldn't use it every day for free. So it's that kind of balance. So I use very select times to use PearDeck, and then I use other tools that are free, entirely free for the rest of the time. But it certainly does prompt the discussion aspect in class, and from the student point of view, it works on pretty much any device. Some of the smaller phones, not as much. Lorraine asked if kids can create sessions so that they can work together in a group. And I don't see why not. I have never done that, but I think that would be a great idea. So I've created a group that we can continue to converse in outside of these sessions, like in a chat room that is designed for Ontario teachers. That would be a really cool discussion to continue having there after tonight, and some of us could try it, Lorraine, and then to see how that works. And I'll explain more about the chat area later. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, anything else about this tool?
Jaclyn, actually Syria had a question earlier as well, because you could control when you could lock students out from making any changes. And I know you're just probably going to go into part of the discussion. When students put a response, is it possible to give them some time as they see other people's responses, you know, to turn and talk to somebody and then adjust their response?
Yep, so you can lock and unlock at your will as a teacher. So I can let them make changes or take it away, or I can stop them from making changes. And I can keep changing that as often as I like.
Actually, Jaclyn, my question was, when I drew my graph, I started a linear graph and then decided to do a parabola. And it was messy at the bottom, and I wanted to erase it. And I didn't find the tool fast enough. That was my question.
Okay, I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to open this up to everybody else. Did anyone else erase their work at all? Yes, okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a different tool I was confusing in my head. And it's if you hold down the pen tool, an eraser tool shows up, or were they, oh, they're all at the bottom. Okay.
Okay, great, thanks. I just didn't see this. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Perfect, thanks guys. I get my tools mixed up from the student perspective. I was pretty confident you could do it, but glad to hear that you had some fun doing it. Okay. Are we ready to move on for our next tools? Any other comments or anything else? Okay, so let's go. Oh, I do have a video here that's posted. I don't think we want to. Well, let me see how long this video is before I. So it's 4 minutes and 32 seconds. A check mark if you would like us to watch this video now. A red, like to take a 4.5-minute break, you go watch that on your own browser and then we come back. Or if you would like, a red X if you would like to watch that on your own later. Because I do have all the links for you. So it's just going to be majority rules. We either take a couple minutes now, okay, now. Okay. Okay, let's watch it now then, perfect. Let me get this link and just post it in the chat so you can click on it directly.
It is up there in the chat as well, but Jaclyn, go ahead and drop it in there again. And so Jaclyn, would you prefer that we don't start the web tour now, just in case you start to reach your maximum capacity of being bumped?
Yeah, I think for this case, we might as well just open this up in our own browsers, click on the link in the chat and watch it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to shut my trap for about 4.5 minutes while everyone goes and watches the video so that you can see from the teacher side. The video is how they've set up the PearDeck from the teacher point perspective, and then come back and ask questions. So click on the link in the chat, watch the video, and when you come back, if you could put a green check mark on, that would be great. Then I know everyone's back and we can have another quick discussion. And I will turn my mic off for 4.5 minutes. So I will see you back here in 4.5 minutes. Okay, any questions or comments from watching the video of the teacher side? Feel free to grab the mic, or I can see a chat. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. it saves them in your Google Drive. You can import Google Slides. Like if you created your quote-unquote PowerPoint presentation in Google Slides, you can import them into PearDeck to use, and then you can add your question slides in after just by clicking New Slide, and then you hit Start Presenting to start present. And on the resource page, I've linked all like the more step-by-step how-to, and because we do have a chat area that we can discuss after. If this is one of the tools that you're going to try in your classroom, then you can ask me in that chat area for any help or additional resources. No problem at all. Okay. All right, so let's go on to our next fun tool. Thank you for clearing that. Okay, out of curiosity, a green check mark if you've used socrative before. Sometimes I find lots of people have, sometimes not so much. Okay, perfect. Okay, so a few of us have. Okay, so basically socrative is a polling tool, and Chris said earlier that PearDeck looked like clickers, right, on student devices or on web devices. Socrative would be even more so. Socrative doesn't have the interactive slide part. You can never have student responses all showing up on the same slide like we did with the PearDeck where all their dots came up together, and they certainly can't draw as a response. It's all typed or multiple choice. But what socrative does have that can sometimes be helpful for teachers in a BYOD environment is they let you have either student-paced or teacher-paced polls or quizzes or whatever you want to call them. I think they call them quizzes within socrative. So that means that I can set up a quote-unquote quiz in socrative, and then I can project the questions on the board and walk students through question by question. We can look at the responses and go through that. Or I can put student-paced, and then it means that they can work on their own pace throughout, so that they can click next to the next question when they want. I don't have it up on the projector, but I might have it open on a laptop, and then they click submit at the end, and they just work their own way through it. So I would like to do a quick, I think I've got 3 or 4 questions in a poll where you see how it looks from a student's point of view. And I will do this as a teacher, and I will try and open up again like I did last time, the application sharing where I'm showing what it looks like from my point of view or from the projector point of view. So let me go in and start that quiz quickly here. And start. Okay. So now I'm going to come back to you. So if you can take the link that Luis just put in the chat, which is http://b.socrative.com/login/student. If you click on that link, and then it's going to ask you for a room name, and the room name is Jack Rocks, and then you just type in your name. And then that should take you into a question. While you do that, I'm going to try application sharing to show you the projector view. Wish me luck. There we go. So 7 of 9 students have already answered the first question, which is great. So in the Blackboard room, 8, wow, good job. So in the Blackboard room, you should see the projector view. So this is what I could have up on the up on the board. Perfect. So then I can click on this "How did we do?" and it shows you a an overview. Now, because it was a multiple choice question, I actually had to select a right or wrong, even though there is no right or wrong answer to have you use socrative before. So that's why one's red, one's green. It didn't let me not select one, which is good to know as well. So this is what it would look like on the front of the board, and then now you're seeing what it looks like on your own screen. So I'm going to click next and go to the next question now. So here I've put in an image, and this image actually comes from our wonderful friends at Educreations. And then you're selecting responses. So on the board, it's actually not showing the responses, just as a heads up so that the responses are on the student devices. But then it will when I click the how did we do part at the bottom down here. So there we go. Okay, so then I'm going to click next. Okay, so now the question is, have you used a tool called Edmodo before? Again, none of these questions have right or wrong, even though I've had to select a right or wrong answer. Excellent. And then, have you used Desmos before? Excellent. Have you used PearDeck before? Excellent. And then I'm done, so I'm going to click the finish at the top right. And this is what I get. So from a teacher point of view, I can have a report emailed to me. I can download my report. I can have it go right into Google Drive, or I can view a chart. I can turn on or off if I select email, I can get a whole class Excel, or I can get a PDF for each student, and then or a question-specific PDF that breaks it down by question. I'm going to hit cancel because I don't actually, I'll just hit view later right here. I don't really want a report for this one. Okay, and so now I'm back at my dashboard and I ended that poll. One other thing, if I go into manage quizzes and my quizzes, one thing you can see right here is download. So this is that OTF Fun quiz. So someone earlier was asking about the kind of the mix between student devices, not everyone having a device, and sometimes the chaos that goes with it. What this is going to do is, here we go, is it's going to give me a PDF of that. So it's downloaded a PDF of that quiz for me. So it's a paper version. Sometimes that can help in the mix between a BYOD class or a student not being there and having to catch up later. I am going to close my socrative and stop my application sharing and come back to our Blackboard Collaborate room for a discussion on this one now. Okay, I'm going to catch up on the questions here. That's a lot of bowling. So what we're seeing in Collaborate is what I show on the screen in class. Yes, you got it. In Socrative, I do not believe they can change what they have on their screen, unless, or what they chose, unless anyone managed to. If anyone managed to change their response, let me know now so I'm not giving the wrong answer. Yeah. And no, Socrative is not a Google app, but it does send the reports to your Google Drive. Does anyone want to grab the mic, talk about possibilities? We've had a couple ideas. An add-on then. Yeah. I think you just you authenticate it through Socrative. So you go to Socrative and you go and link your Google Drive to it through that. Yes. So Socrative you can access from a student device on anything with the web. So this one now we're talking about much smaller screens than the PearDeck. It doesn't have the requirement for the bigger screens. So iPods, iPhones, Androids, anything with the web, you can go to just the web, just like you went to b.socrative.com/login /student, they can do that, or you can download the free student app. Oh, great. And did it work well, Joan? Awesome. Yes. So from my perspective, socrative is one of the stabler, is that a word? Most stable, maybe I'm making words up here now, of the polling systems, and the flexibility to download it as a test or take a paper version when either all heck breaks loose in a class, the network goes down, or a kid missed the day and they're doing it in maybe with student success or something. Do students see their answers? Can you explain that, Chris? Like while they're doing it or at the end? No, but what I have on the board, I can show which answer is correct. So if I'm doing it as a teacher directed, like where I'm pasting them question by question, if I set it up as a student paced one, I can set it up to give them feedback after each question. Yes, you got that right, or no, you didn't, or I can have that turned off. And then I can, at the end of it, I can export a PDF of by student, and then they see their answers. It says what their answer was, and it says what the correct answer was, and they get their own report that they could hold onto as a PDF. I'm just going to wait for Maureen to type in. Hi, Maureen. Yeah, I agree. Also, feel free to grab the mic, folks. Okay, so we have a 3.5-minute video for socrative to show you how it works. So I'm going to post that in the chat here. And I am going to turn my mic off for 3.5 minutes and then ask you to watch that in a different browser. So I'll click on the link in the chat and then come back and click the green check mark when you're done. And then we can do any final questions about using socrative. Okay, so one thing I did while we had that video working is I printed off, or I shared the printable quiz version of what we did. So there is the link there I just threw in the chat that will take you to the PDF that they give you if you want to print the quiz that you've added in there, just in case you're interested in seeing what that looks like. It's fairly quick, Chris. It depends on how fancy smancy you're going. So the question that I had where I was taking little screenshots from Aqueo and putting it in was pretty quick. Was quick, but I had to do screenshots and then drop in the pictures. Oh, sorry, Louise. Yeah, sorry. Let me make that public. I'm trying to do things too quickly. Oh, I made it public for those of you in Simcoe County District School Board. None of you are from Simcoe County District School Board. Let's try this again. There we go. Take 2. That should work now. So it can be very quick. The other really nice thing about socrative is that you can share your quizzes. So I personally have created maybe 6 socrative quizzes for grade 9 Aqueo. And our 2P teachers, our grade 10 for applied Aqueo. Our grade 10 teachers in grade 10 applied use them as a diagnostic at the beginning of the year, and our grade 9 teachers use them as prep for Aqueo as they finish those concepts, and I've broken them up based on the strands. So I can share with you the SOC numbers to those, which look something like SOC number, and then it's blah, 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 blah. This is like an example. It's a bunch of numbers. And each one connects to a socrative quiz, and then people can import those quizzes. So if there's anyone here that is interested in wanting those, then just let me know at the end of the day and I'll email them to you. But or maybe I'll put them on the wiki actually. Let me rephrase that. I will put the socrative quizzes that I've created for the grade 9 applied Aqueo onto the our wiki our resource page so that you can access them if you want to. And so I spent the time just doing little screenshots from a couple years worth of Aqueo stuff, and then you can use those. So that is a really good thing about the socrative, is that if you create some quizzes, you can share them, and then even if you're not going to have access to those devices, you can print the PDF. Yeah. So it makes life a bit easier. Any other questions or comments or thoughts about Socrative? Nothing? Okay. So Edmodo. So one of our big things, the math processes we're talking about is math communication. And I would say that almost all of them, so let me give you a little bit of background before I speak. It makes no sense, sorry. All of the grade 9s in my school have their own devices. They all had to bring in a laptop or a tablet. And if not, they were provided one. If they couldn't afford one, they were provided one. So all of our grade 9s have a whole range of devices. So BYOD is very near and dear to my heart. So any tools that we use have to be available on pretty much every platform, or an alternative equivalent has to be available for all platforms. So Edmodo has been one of those accessible tools for math because students can post pictures in there, which means on any mobile device or on a laptop they can access it and they can post images, and we can have lots of math conversation in there. We can post little prompts and have discussion in there. So it's really supported the math communication component in our BYOD math classes. Can I get a green check mark if you've used Edmodo before? Okay, so about half and half by the looks of it. So Edmodo looks like Facebook, but is locked down and wonderful for school. So basically you create your account, and if you create your account as a teacher, then you set up a class, like a separate classroom, a separate stream, and you give students a code to enter. They go to Edmodo, create their own account, enter in a code, and they join your classroom. And then it's like a stream like Facebook. You push things. I'm getting email notifications that I've got new people joining the Edmodo group that's posted on the board. That's great. And as you post things in Edmodo, it pushes the things down and then a new post comes in. You can add videos easily. You can post links easily. Edmodo will connect with your Google Drive so that you can post Google Docs easily. And there are even little apps that you can access through Edmodo. I haven't found a whole lot of use for the apps yet, but that might just be my own lack of experience or of trying and pushing it, because I do know other people that have. So what we should do is get a feel for Edmodo by going to edmodo.com. If you already have I'm just going to read the comment here, sorry. You don't have to input them, Vera, depending on your age. They go to Edmodo and create their own account, and you give them all a code. So I'm going to, and it would actually might make your life easier. Are your 6 different classes, any of them similar grade, same grade? No, you don't have to add them. You just give them your code and they add themselves. So let's go through the process here so you can see what it feels, so you can see what it looks like. Now you're my students. So I've already gone in and I have spent 5 minutes setting up my classroom. I spent a little bit more time playing around and learning the interface, which you would do as a teacher, but now that I already knew the interface, so I came in and I created my classroom and I got this code that you can see on the board that I'll explain in a second, and that's all I've done so far. So when you go to edmodo.com, if you're a teacher, then create a new account, make it a teacher account, use your teacher email, and if you already have an account, then sign in. Once you're in, no matter how you got in, by creating a new account or by already having an account, on the left-hand side you're going to see what looks like this on the board, the blue or gray Groups tab, and you'll see that little plus sign beside it. That little plus sign lets you either create a new group or join a group. In this case, you're going to be the student and try by joining the group. Once you click Join Group, you have to enter in the join code, which is on the board, and it's I3E5MH. I'm going to put this in the chat. So we're going to, just like Luis already did for me, of course, and your group join code is I3E5MH, like that. So how about you do that? Take a couple seconds, go into the browser, and then fire me off a green check mark once you've joined the group. Once you're in the group, you'll see, for those of you that are in there, you see a post that says, welcome. It's about, let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 posts down. And it says, welcome to the OTF Connect session November 18th, working the math processes through BYOD. Please introduce yourself here. Click reply to post a response. So please, by all means, click reply and throw in just hello, my name is, or hi, anything just to see what it feels like. So I've replied now so that it added it to the stream. Okay, good. So let me just see how many folks I've got. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 new adds tonight to that group. Okay, so let me know where you are, Vera. Either grab the mic. You made a profile, so you're in right now in Edmodo? Okay, on the left-hand side, do you see a gray tab that says Groups? No, not at all, Vera. That's exactly what this is for. Yep, nope, that's exactly what this is for. Oh, Maureen, it's because you're in the small group. Okay, I'll go in and take a look. This is the same Edmodo group that we used in the summer, Maureen, so you're already joined in this group. Sorry. Let me know how you're doing, Vera. How important is the school? Not that important, I don't think. Okay, on the left-hand side, do you see a gray tab that says Groups, Vera? And then a little plus sign beside it? Because if you click on the little plus sign, it will say Join, and that's where you enter the code. Vera's in. I got the email. So as you can tell, I've got my notification set that I get an email notification when new members join the group. You can choose to turn your notifications on or off depending on what you're doing. I can also lock it so that nobody else can join once my whole class is joined. And once you're in, a couple different things to look for. Awesome. So a couple of you have introduced yourself in there. That's great. So you see it's very Facebook-ish-like once you're in. And there are other tools out there that have the same kind of, learning management or sharing atmosphere. I still get the best results for students from in Edmodo for sharing, for actually opening up and talking. I don't know if it's because it does look like Facebook, but there's also the other double-edged side to that sword is that sometimes they do informal talk. So depending on what you're trying to do, for math it works really well because I just want my kids to talk math. I'm not too worried if they're using formal conversational speak for most of the time. I just want them to talk about math. But if I'm elementary and I'm looking at writing process and I'm looking at all of that at once, getting them to pay attention to not using text talk or LOL and those types of you know, acronyms and that type of stuff, it can be difficult to have that shift in mentality because it does look like Facebook to them. Some of the other things to look at while you're in this room for Edmodo is there's an assignment there, which is basically like a Dropbox. If you as a student click on it, it'll let you upload a file and submit an assignment to me. Don't worry about doing that now, but it turns it into a bit of a learning management place. The other thing you'll see up there is a quiz, and my wonderful quiz is called Copy 2 of Climate Change. It was a quiz for a grade 10 academic science class about 3 years ago that I just grabbed and uploaded there. But then the file at the very top is a Geometer Sketchpad file. I find Edmodo supports BYOD in the classroom because it lets me post files, pictures, media that students can then access on their own devices. It's my way of sharing those resources to them and then having them come back with the communication piece. So a student could, if they were on an iPad on Edmodo and they had the free Sketchpad app, which I'll show you a link to in a second, could open up this Geometer Sketchpad file and work on it on their own iPad. They could do the exact same thing if they had Geometer Sketchpad on their laptop and clicked on this file and opened it up. So Edmodo kind of brings everything together, all the different tools that we're using, all the different links. It's like the one-stop shop. And it supports communication. If I ask my students to post an example of a positive slope that they see in the world on their way home tonight, they can take a picture with their phone using the free Edmodo app, post it to Edmodo, and explain if if their slope is steeper or less steeper than someone else's in the class, and they can have those discussions right in Edmodo. Any thoughts or ideas about Edmodo? Questions, concerns? Grab the mic, type in. What are you guys thinking about Edmodo? Awesome. Lorraine, grab the mic.
Well, I never used Edmodo for math, but what I did do is I had some gifted students in the class, and so I actually connected with some other teachers who had gifted children in their classes, and we made an Edmodo class for them so that they could have a peer group for a literature study that was like a virtual literature study group. So when other kids in my class were working on their literature studies, then that group got together on Edmodo and connected. So it was pretty cool.
That is awesome. I did a collaborative math project with some students a long time ago, and we used Edmodo so that they, what happened? It was a grade 3-4 class and a 5-6 class, no, 2-3 and a 3-4 or something. And they created a survey together in small groups in Edmodo. They designed a survey, and then they each surveyed their own class, brought back their data, and then they graphed their data in different ways, and then they posted a picture of their graphs to their small groups and had some discussion around it. Any other ideas for this, for Edmodo? I love the gifted peer group. Does anyone want to grab the mic? Yes, absolutely, Lorraine. We talked about communication in math, and the fact is that they're kind of naturally do it a bit more with Edmodo. Yeah, they can share different strategies, eh, Maureen? Lorraine, absolutely. So that is the big difference between, well, there are other differences between D2L and Edmodo, but you've nailed it there, Lorraine. D2L really is designed when you have a set amount of content. Sorry, for those of you that don't know what D2L is, D2L is the provincial learning management system. It's Desire to Learn. It's like it's a whole system that was designed to support e-learning courses, like fully online courses, but people also use it in their classrooms now, and it has the built-in online courses in there, so you can use the content from the online courses in your classroom if you want. And it really is designed to be that content holder where the teacher is really structuring everything. And you can post assignments and drop boxes, and you can do discussion forums.